Hi everyone, welcome to our second day of work from art performance happening in Rannigalleria Oulu. And today is Friday and I'm happy to get some guests from Russia and Norway. And today I have been created this. Let's see how the sound will go together with the video, but let me see. Maybe you can hear me a bit better when I don't have this double sound going on. But today we have been inviting artists together, or Ekaterina Sharova has been inviting these two artists. And Ekaterina Sharova is one of our cooperation or my colleagues from Russia that I got known to when we organized together with artist Tiina Pehkonen this Northern Underground Art Network, and we were searching different kind of art spaces around northern Sweden and northern Norway and northwest Russia. And we found Ekaterina, who is organizing this amazing Arctic art forum that has been organized for 3 times. And she will tell about the history of the whole project and maybe some current projects and ongoing things also. She's now in Norway, so we will have a connection also to Russia, and Ekaterina has been choosing Asya Marakulina. I hope I pronounced her name correctly, but she's gonna give a sneak peek to her studio and creative mind today, and also Margrethe Kolstad Brekke from Norway will give a presentation and sneak peek to her studio. So, welcome to Work from Art performance. We are based here in Rannigalleria, which is maintained by Culture Association Kulttuuribingo. And this is kind of glass box that used to be made for public artwork. So we are here kind in the public space to show people work from art. Or is it art from work? I had a nice discussion yesterday about the name of the whole happening. So maybe in the future it will be art from work. Let's see. This Work from Art Part 3 is third time that I'm organizing this kind of open workspace office time in this gallery, and my idea is to bring their creative work and artistic work visual, and I want to rise up artists and so show the importance of the work behind the scenes and behind the galleries and behind the exhibitions. I admire artists and I think they are super brave, so I'm really eager also to see their working spaces. But I will wait that Ekaterina will join our meeting, so let's have a small break and let's get back 12:15. Okay, thank you. Hi.
Hi. Okay, let me just try to. Yes. Oh, so nice. Very nice background. Yeah, so you have already made a short presentation, am I right?
Yes, I just gave a short description of how we met together and that you have been choosing these two artists for today. And
Hi. Okay, let me just try it. Yes. Oh, so nice. Very nice back. Wow. Now I hear some sound.
yeah, sorry, there is something going. It's the delay for the.
Okay. Yes, should I just say a couple of words? Well, my name is Ekaterina Sharova, and I'm very thankful for being invited to this event and share some practices and some work which we have been doing together with the colleagues in the north of Russia, on the border between Norway, Russia, and Finland. Yes, and hopefully later artists will join from their studios. But firstly, I would like to share a little bit about Arctic Art Institute as an institution and the forum we have been working with for since 2016, basically. This has been a rather long process. I'm born in the north of Russia, in the town of Arkhangelsk, and I was studying in some of the best schools in town, and the class was like a history class. However, in the north of Russia, like in many other places in the Arctic region, students didn't really learn local history. And in my recent practice, I've been interested in connecting this like archaeology of meanings and the identity and the processes happening today. And I think the processes happening in the north of Russia are similar to what happens like in other places where minorities and local people are like unlearning their own history, but also the like things connected with their own identity, because it's interesting only when you can apply it to what happens today and what can happen in the future. Yeah, so I studied in Oslo in the Faculty of Humanities at the University of Oslo, and after that I decided to go to the north and work in the north of Norway on the border, and it has been a really exciting experience. I got a scholarship from Pikkene på Broen. It is I got a scholarship from the Norwegian Art Council to be aspirant at Pikkene på Broen, and it has been a very important experience for me because, and I still think that more and more people could learn about this because it's fantastic competence, fantastic knowledge about Sami art and art on the border, and how we can apply culture for establishing a dialogue where you really need it. Yeah, and then we decided to I decided to start some processes in Russia, And this was a start of the Arctic Art Institute, which began the first projects in Murmansk in 2015. Yeah. And some of the first project I will share the screen so you can see it. It's written that the host disabled participant. I think you should switch it on.
It's quite noisy, the gallery space, so
Yeah.
I mute myself once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you should get.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is the webpage of the Arctic Art Institute, and now we have a webpage. In 2015, we didn't really have any webpage. Here you can see, yeah, like you can basically see some of the pictures from the recent projects, and with participants from Norway, from Finland, from Russia, from US, Sweden, and other countries. So yeah. So basically, it started as a project by artists and students, and the focus was sustainable development because it's so relevant for the Arctic region today. Ecology and sustainability, we find it as the most important topics now. And cultural diplomacy in this context is also very important because we know that the region is getting militarized, especially when you are on the border. You become very aware of it. When people in Nikel go to the shop and see like a military plane like just under their head and above their head, it just becomes like everyday life, and you have it on the both sides of the border. So you become aware as a cultural worker what you're actually doing and why you're doing this. Yeah, and another important point is knowledge exchange, because when you live at the periphery, it's like the educational system it functions in the way that the content in the school books is produced in the centers usually, and it happens in every country. So this like regional component is super important because people who live in this place, they should know who they are. They should be connected with this knowledge in completely another way. So we didn't have it in our school, and I'm very aware about it as both as an educator and also as a cultural worker and curator and producer. So knowledge exchange between the people living in the north and the centers, people who create art in the peripheries, and those who live in the centers, and those who produce theories, I found is essential. When the theory and practice like exchange. Yeah. So this has been very important. And another thing is that contemporary art hasn't really existed in the north of Russia, and usually people connected it with some things from TV, like most of all it's Russian actionism. And for the people in the periphery, it has been rather disturbing. And we decided to create something else. So we didn't really use the word contemporary art in the beginning. We just did some creative projects and involved people and allow them being artists themselves, because creativity is a kind of like, is infectious. So you can really invite people joining the game, because each of them, they were children once, and these creative processes, they don't need to be labeled as contemporary art, because it can like scare people from taking part in something cool and funny. And yeah. And of course, when you do this, you're constantly in the situation of competition, because there are many organizations where police or military are working with kids, and they invite young people to their activities. And of course, you as a small contemporary art institution, you cannot really compete, because you don't have like even near, you don't have the similar resources. But that's what happens, because young people have always a choice. So it's kind of very real challenge.
Yeah. And you have been, and we have been discussing about this also before, that it's really important to effect on the young people when they are the next generation, especially in Russia, that needs to be educated now, because the contemporary art is such a new thing in northern Russia.
Well, now it's more accepted. There is a contemporary art center in Murmansk. Well, you can discuss what is contemporary art, but I think it's also, when we started to work, we didn't really apply the term contemporary art. What is contemporary? Because for us, if we're talking in terms of like the content, the rediscovery of the local history has been rather central, because of all this like digitalization of the archives and stuff. So it has been really a central thing.
Yeah.
And educational activities and educational projects, this has been very important. And like art is also like a question. If you use art, it's also, we didn't really use the term art in some of the first projects. We just say, okay, we have this creative project, you can just come and join. And you don't need to come with a theory, there is a participatory project. Okay, now I will tell you the theory, just doing things. And I think it's really important. You just have to work from the place and from the people. And it is developing still, like things are developing. They're constantly in change, even in the Corona times. This summer, there are some street art festivals happening in Russia, and many others. But we now work more maybe with universities, and try to establish some alternative knowledge platforms, which can allow like new narratives to develop. Yeah, so this is the webpage. It's also possible to take a look and see what kind of projects which have been done, and you can see that there is an Arctic Art Forum, and it's like the most maybe important event. And in 2016, the first Arctic Art Forum took place, and we found these photos of Nikolai Shabunin. He was an artist. Here. Yeah, so it was like Nikolai Shabunin. He was an artist, originally from a small village of Yuroma in Mizень. We can find some houses from these pictures from 1906, but we can even find some of these vehicles, because you use it for like riding a horse, but you don't really find many textiles, for instance, because it's like 100 years since then. And many of these textiles, they are in museums somewhere, but not really in use. And many of these pictures, they were very striking for the local people because you just didn't see them and you just like think, wow, my relatives could wear this, my relatives could be like this, because in the villages people didn't really use photo, and he was an exception because he was an artist working in St. Petersburg, having got an education in the art academy there, working with authorities, and then he like got this camera, and then he had the possibility to go and document life of these people. And this is, of course, a unique material which was not really published before, and you know, which was interesting for the people who live there, because it's like you connect with your own relatives, with your own like great grandfathers, which you didn't see pictures before and stuff. And it was a kind of cool. And the theme which was selected for the first forum was embodied knowledge. And why? Because when we developed this topic together with colleagues, we for discussing what knowledge is and what we learn in school, what we learn from our parents, what we learn at the university in another country. Because
yeah, it's very interesting to like questionize like who is doing the teaching material and the school, and who is choosing the important things from the history or from the art. Or
yeah, especially if you apply geography, because many of the materials in school books, they are connected to the capitals. And of course, when you grow up in a certain peripheral context, you think that real things happen in the capital and you don't have any exciting stuff because you didn't see it in the book. But when you actually try to find, you find a lot of exciting things of the national importance.
yeah.
And that's not something that you learn in school, really. But I think it's relevant for every country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a teacher, because my first education is pedagogy, and I've been working as a teacher for like 15 years, and on different levels, from like with children from 1 year old to grown-ups. And you become very aware of the human as a continuity, as a process. We all are a process. And there is a very interesting researcher, Leo Vygotsky, who in his book, Psychology of Art, he says about like the artist is a kind of, if you say that the artist has his individual talent disconnected from the society, it cannot be true, because you are formed by the everyday life around you, every day, like what you have around you. And as a teacher, you're also very aware of the fact that it's not only books you are learning from, it's also family, it's also the street, the furniture, the nature. Yeah, so this was the topic. And this was, of course, about some common signs. Because, and also why we found interesting to like work with this archaeology of meanings, because if you really dig into the depths, you find that most of folk tales, most of folk designs, they have similarities all around the world. They are similar. You have the mythology, they are similar regardless you are from this country or that country. And this is important point for us as well. Okay, I just tried to move it somehow. Yeah.
And the first Arctic Art Forum was this 2016.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I can show some pictures, because most of the projects, they were like meeting projects, they were like dialogue projects, and one of them was a concert between the Northern Folk Choir and Hallgeir Pettersen. He's my good friend. He's a musician living in Finnmark in Norway. And in April this year, I visited Hallgeir actually, and I remember that he was saying these things on the concert, because in his village in Finnmark, you still can find some graves of Pomors who traveled there to trade flour, because during the Pomor trade before the USSR, there was like interchange of goods between northern Norway and northern Russia, Pomor trade. And in his village, there are people who have Russian surnames, like Balandin. They pronounce it Balandin. In my mother's home place, there were people with surname Balandin. And of course, it was before USSR, but it was a kind of like, wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
So
amazing how people are like spread around and cultures mixed.
Yeah. But it's like, again, if you talk about Norway, in the south of Norway, people are not really aware of these things.
Yeah.
Like at the University of Oslo, you have Russian studies, but they don't really know about Pomor trade, despite the fact that it's like something that has been there for 200 years. And in the middle of Tromsø, you still have the house of the vice-consul of Russia.
Yeah.
It's a copy, but there is like a house in the middle, just on the other side of the road from Bardens Theatre. You have this like house of Lawrence Skanke, who has been working with Northern Russians. And this historical fact, I met some girl at the Arctic Frontiers this year, the conference in Tromsø, who completed the master studies at the University of Oslo, Russian studies. She has never heard about it. So it's like, who produces the content of the study program? And of course, I lived in Oslo for 8 years myself, and I know that the knowledge about Russia is very limited, and is limited to, some people or one person, but it's much more than that.
And for example, here in Oulu region, we have quite a lot of people moved from Karelia after the war, and there I was working for this small municipality next to Oulu called Muhos, and they had like, there's 9,000 people living in the whole village, and 700 of them are Karelian people. So, but none of the local know actually about it. So I think with culture and art, we can spread the information and bring it visible.
Yeah, because I saw these books in the library in E when I was now in Finland, and I mean, it wasn't finished, but there were so many interesting photos about northern Russia, because it was also part of Finland. It's, oh, wow. I think there are so many like things which connect, and now there is a large competition in Russia, in Moscow, about Russian design, because now the interest to this like identity stuff in Russia is super big, and representatives of design bureaus in St. Petersburg, they just had a seminar about like historical connections between Nordic countries and Northern Russia, and it's like obvious, especially if you work in culture and if you start to dig into various processes, because yeah, it just has been there. Like I found that some artists in Finland and the University of Lapland, they did this kind of thing, and I found, wow, it's interesting. And then I said, okay, this is like this himmeli thing. Okay, in E, you also have one work in the park, like referring to this form of Christmas decoration.
Yes.
Yeah, Christmas. Because I mean, in Russia, you didn't have like religious celebrations for a while, but then I found some pictures from Piniga region of my mother, of some old women who are doing exactly the same thing. But we didn't do it. We forgot some stuff. But you see the historical pictures, and I'm like, oh wow, there was this like himmeli in Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you constantly find it, and I think it's really very special. And of course, it's also kind of like privilege. Or we did a street art project at the first forum. It's a building like in the middle of the town, and there were 3 artists working together, and we spent a lot of time with them, like discussing what it can be and stuff. And we wanted to represent some reference to their own families. First of all, they just went to Google. They started to see something in Google. Okay, we want to find some old woman. But then I said, no, but you have pictures of your grandmother. Go and look at your photo albums. And then the artists, because many of them, they work commercially and they don't get this kind of crazy tasks. And they're like, what? So the artist, Artyom, he started to dig into his family archive. He said, no, I don't have any pictures of my grandmother. Like, how come you don't have? But another artist, because there were three of them, they found. Okay. So this is a photo of great-grandmother of one of the artists. And when they were painting this, there was one guy living in the house, and he was completely shocked, because still some older people, they think that it's like a crime. It's completely non-expected, and people are shocked, and they call police. So these guys, they were taken to police, but all the work has been approved from before by the municipality, so there was no any problem. But that's what you have in the place, and of course it's connected with the space, how you work with the space, how you work with the what place artists have in the space and stuff. Yeah, but in the very end, it became the most popular work, and people, because people can relate to that. But if you see the design, if you just see this design, you see that there is this image from Kargopol embroidery, but you also have it in Finland, in Finnish culture. And I didn't find the stamp, because I told you there is a stamp. Like you have this kind of design, and you have like written Suomi, like.
Yeah, that looks familiar to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like super ancient image of this mother. Yeah, and I think that maybe I can say a couple of words about this project, about Untitled, because you have this, maybe some people have seen film Leviathan, and Leviathan is a film of Andrei Zvyagintsev. It was nominated to the Oscar from Russia in 2015. and it was filmed in the village of Teribirka in Murmansk. And in 2015, we made the very first festival there, and I invited this street artist, Pöbel. So we did this work, and it was completely crazy because it was my first project in Russia, and it's like you don't know, there are some people, there are many military all around, and you don't really know who can actually do this at all. But this work made by Pöbel, this is the artist. So he came to Russia for the first time, and I was there, like working with him on this project. So this is a kind of abandoned place. So he made this kind of support drawing, and it was also a very funny story because it was difficult to buy benzene there for the car, and we found some guy and we say, "Are you a fisherman?" Because Pöbel asked, "Could you please like ask if there are some fishermen in town? And if they have hut, because this thing he holds is like for fish, it's called in Norwegian hut."
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had to Google what it actually means because, of course, I never use this hut, but it's. Yeah, and we found the guy because we were buying a benzene from some person, and I asked, "Are you a fisherman?" He said, "Yes." "Could you please take this like thing and hold it, and this guy is going to take a picture of you." And for people in the village, it was like, "What's that?" And there were no any tourists there in Teribirka. Now there are many tourists. They're building a new road there. So culture has really changed stuff. But then it was really like, but this picture, like Pöbel is a very well-known artist. It also became a symbol of skistoprøret in Norway, in Vardø. Yeah, so this is the picture that I saw in Vardø, and okay, this is his picture. So first it was made in Russia, and now it's a kind of a symbol of it's a symbol of this like liberation movement for fishermen in northern Norway, and it's like natural resources belong to the people. But I was there taking picture of this guy who was selling us benzene and trying to understand like, what do you want? Yeah. So many things are like interconnected, and culture has this amazing power of doing that, especially if we're talking about art.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now actually there is a festival in Vardø, because Vardø was the main Pomor town. And this is another work by Pöbel, where a guy, a fisherman, is hitchhiking to Vardø from Teribirka. And we talked a lot about this like historical connections and stuff, because in 2015 it was very important. Here he is doing a project with some young people in Teribirka. Yeah.
This was like partly in Russia and partly in Norway.
Yeah.
Teribirka in Russia.
Teribirka. This was made in Teribirka. It's like it's a small village. It's a small village in the north of in the north of Russia. Oh no, it's not very good. Maybe I can just show Leviathan trailer.
Yeah, I have seen that too.
Yeah. You have seen this film?
No, but I have seen the trailer, yes, but I think quite many knows about that. But it's good to see.
Yeah. It's a kind of very sad film, but very strong. So this is Teribirka. extremely beautiful
landscape.
And yeah, it's about corruption basically. But all is filmed in these surroundings, and it's a kind of very sad film. And we wanted to start a festival which will show an alternative. And now this village is really, yeah.
Yeah, I have to check this or watch it, the full movie. I forgot it.
It's just a good movie. I think a new road, and there are several new hotels. But when I just came to this village with my colleague Ekaterina, we talked with some local people. No one could believe that something will happen. We said, yes, you know, the festival will take place in summer, and you will have many tourists. That's how it happens all around in the north. They couldn't believe in that. But now culture has really made a change. It has made a change. And is it because of the film? Is it because of the art? Because the festival really did a great promotion in Moscow, and all around Russia people learned about this place.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's really trendy also to go on these like periphery regions now, and especially after this corona, the government sees that, oh, this is like a million business to have these festivals and happenings that and yeah, I think this time is also really good for culture field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Corona played a role because you can travel internally, and the north becomes a kind of fancy. So people don't only travel to the south; they also travel to the north.
Yeah.
Especially if you are from the south. Like here, you can have people from Spain and Italy. They just like they find it so fascinating. Yeah. And I also know some people who work in Svalbard, people from Italy working in Svalbard as guides, and yeah, they enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah, but maybe, of course, you need to go back and just, get some sun from time to time. Yeah, but otherwise, it's like I said about the forum, but also festival in Teriberka, and we also have a residency actually. And if some artists would like to visit, there is also possibility to come. There were many different artists because it's a kind of a network of residencies, and we work as kind of like with administration. So it's like if the artist would like to visit the town, so he can visit the town. If he wants to visit the village, there is also a possibility for that. There are artists from Moscow, from Oslo, from the US, yeah, from other parts in Russia. And it's also possible to just to send a mail, and we don't have an open call yet, but it's possible just to send a mail if someone is interested. Yeah. And we have gathered some text here as well. So it's possible just to take a look and learn more about what happens in contemporary art in the North. Yeah. Yes. So basically that's it. And some of the projects was with Margrethe Kolstad Brekke. Here is the project. There are two projects. And hopefully she will join soon.
Yeah. Let's see everything.
Yeah. So it was a kind of a dialogue. Like I told, for us, it has been always important to establish a dialogue between local people, local artists, and artists who are coming. So there was one artist. We met with her November 2015. And then this artist, he passed away in January 2016, and this exhibition is in June 2016. So it's a kind of commemoration. We took objects from his flat, we took his work, and she created an artwork. And all the story was called Beautiful Far Away. It's a kind of a Soviet song, utopia, and kind of like melancholic reflection, but also about art in public space. So we had many discussions about what is art in public space, and many of these people are continue working in this field. Yeah. And Margrethe, she works with textiles, but now she's doing some really interesting projects, which she will hopefully tell us about. And here is this project about utopia, which was also in November. That's when we met Ivan Arkhipov. Yeah. And especially I like this amazingly done textiles, because it's like a painting, but you don't have the frame and you have completely other possibilities. It's a silk, and you have some embroideries here referring to Thomas More, because Thomas More, he developed this alphabet, utopian alphabet. So she was, it was a kind of feminist conceptual work with references to maybe the Soviet flag, I don't know, maybe something else. But she also has collaborated with paraplan people who are like paragliding. So they developed works together. So some of her works, they were not only in the gallery, but also in the sky.
Nice.
And yes, and here you have this de is like 500, because Thomas More, it was 500 years since Thomas More wrote his work Utopia. And it's still relevant, the questions he was asking. So yes, that's it. I think that's all from me.
Yeah, thank you. And it's like 5 minutes to get Asya to come. Was it Asya
I
first?
think it's Margrethe, isn't it? Let me see.
But let's have a short break, 5 minutes, so we can do
Sure.
So we can just mute our microphones and our videos and catch you on Facebook so we can figure things out. Okay. Hi, Margrethe. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I think there's some technical things that we have to figure out. I can hear something from...
Nei, nå hører jeg når det er. Men ja, det virker som bare kamp.
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Nei, jeg vet ikke.
Hvor fikk du den på mailen?
Ja, den ble den på.
Du tar på nettet ditt?
Can you, Margrethe, hear me? Or Ekaterina?
Hello?
Hi, I can hear
Hi.
you. Yes.
Yeah, we don't have internet in the studio, so I'm on like a phone, which is like it's a bit random when things work and not.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but I can't see you.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's good. I think it's better to hear each other than see.
Yes, yes.
Hi, Margrethe.
Hi.
Ages ago. It has been a while ago. Well, it would be really nice to have a video if there is any possibility for that.
I'm not sure. It might be either video or sound. I'm on a very the cheapest Chinese phone. So everything is like Zoom is barely working. But I can explain quickly, and then I can try to show some. No, there is. My friend is trying to connect over her Mac, so then maybe we can do that. Use that connection instead.
Cool.
Or not? Yeah. But I can explain. If you ask me what we are doing here, I can try to explain verbally first, and then try to show some video from the place.
Yeah, maybe we can just connect with what we have been talking about, because we have been just talking about the Utopia and the projects we were doing in the north of Russia, and I was just sharing like what we have been working with before and what we're doing now and stuff like that. And basically we finished with Archipov, and then that you work with other projects in the south of Norway? That's
Yes,
what basically it was.
yeah, I guess I'll quickly explain the background. Since, you know, like last time we met, I was living in Bergen and having like an expensive flat and expensive studio. And then I started thinking about where to move in the district to be able to afford being an artist into like old age. And then it is this, you know, it's very much inspired by the Soviet cities of north of Russia. I became very fascinated by the town Rjukan, which was like a major site of historic events during the Second World War in Norway. And it's also the only like planned city in Norway, which is what with architecture from the 20s, like resembling parts of Murmansk and some of the other towns up north. So, you know, like, so, and it's in the middle of the wilderness. So it's very much like this Atlantis, sort of Atlantis in the middle of nowhere. And it has like both this very, like the capitalist hubris utopian backbone. Like the town was built like by this entrepreneur. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was built. He borrowed like 1.5 the double of the Norwegian state budget of the year in like approximately, I think 1909. He borrowed money in France and then he built the city in the middle of like in a valley next to a massive mountain plateau. So that's the back, like that is the place. And then it was this piece of art here, which is a sun mirror. And that's actually like, it's a very famous Norwegian piece of art since it has a big, it's been traveling the internet on social media. Since in this valley, there is no sun all of the, like half the year. It's in the shadow between the mountains. So then this artist, he wanted to make like a mirror so there could be sun in the town square in the dark months. And this mirror project, it was sort of very much embraced by the local municipality and by the tourist industry. And then, but then, you know, like, you know, you explained about my background, like working with utopian stuff and so on. And when we got to know each other, Martin decided, like, we came across, okay, now I can switch to,
Perhaps.
oh yeah. Oh, hello. So now maybe we can walk around and show the space with the camera. Yeah. I'll turn off my phone now then. Yeah. Or hello?
It works.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. Now so then the phone is still speaking. Just.
Oh, I see now because I just looked at.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Go on.
Yeah. So then the artist behind the sun mirror, Martin Andersen, he decided that the sun mirror is actually a solar punk project. And throughout the years of working with like these utopian narratives and renewable energy and sustainable transitions, solar punk it's a sci-fi genre, and it's like the most sort of concrete frame for developing future-oriented constructive artistic narratives of today. So what we are have started to work on here, because I wanted to come here just to have a studio, but then we started working together. And then we came up with this, the Solar Punk Academy, and we have some interdisciplinary collaborators, and us now starting to try to build this brick by brick. And then one thing, like this city, it doesn't have anywhere you can get good coffee and, you know, a nice cafe. So when in our art studio, it will also be a cafe, and it will be a meeting place for small, NGOs, and it will be different things happening.
Just no, it's a bit. Battery is not.
Oh, the battery is not so high. I'll go back. I have to go back to the.
Oh, it's very nice.
It's yeah. I'll run around quickly before the battery goes out. It's this building. It used to be like Harrods in Norway. It was the biggest like shopping mall, or what you would say warehouse. It was like Oxford Street in 1909. Because when they were building the city, they needed like a massive place for, to get sardines and to get tobacco and to get like milk. So this is 277 square meters. Compared, we can make alternative cafes in the 90s. But now it's just, it's Joe and the Juice and the Starbucks everywhere, and people can't make nice cafes in the cities more. But here, here Martin is building this bar out of books. Can you see that?
Cool.
So we spent like a super long time here. And funding from UNESCO and so on, and like little by little we are like. This is one of an item that they are using to make the heavy water from, so that I painted on the wall, electrolyzer. So it's part of the local cultural history. And here let's see if that's the letters on top of this painting on the wall. You recognize Katarina's
Yes, we were just talking
alphabet?
about these letters from Thomas More.
Yes, exactly.
Utopian letters.
Yes, so it's solar punk. Campus Rjukan. I've been thinking a lot, of course, about this Arctic Art Institute and like this way of. We already had like like a class with art students. In the beginning of Corona, I was supposed to go to another city to teach in an art school, but then I had to do it. It was also like really beginning of the Rjukan Solar Punk Academy. So like been thinking about like different ways of making online concepts and so on. Maybe we'll try that. But I hope you all can come here sometime soon, because we are like now applying everywhere and, starting with this and that, building up stuff and hope to make it more like an institution, kind of, a new kind of institution, small
Is
kind
the
of
institution for solar punks?
Yes. To make an institutional framework for the solar punk concept.
Okay. Should you be a solar punk before you come, or
no? It's we are also able to redefine the entire solar punk framework. I have to sit down, I'm told, because it's the it's a very expensive Mac from my friend. I'm sitting down and connecting the socket. Yeah. Okay. So this is my little studio corner. So I will be working here, having a much more tidy studio than ever before, because it will be people coming in, and then I will go, when someone comes in, I will go and make coffee and pancakes.
Cool.
Pancakes like in Russia, but we get like this French crepe machine.
Cool. So are you going to have a residency as well? You have like kind of print machine or something?
Yeah, we are gonna have I think within this framework, we will make very, specific solar punk related residencies. So we're using, we're going to work with the NGO that is trying to develop the idea of universal basic income in the Norwegian context. And then we're going to work with concrete initiatives around food waste, and then a lot of different other projects which sort of matches with the solar punk. Well, what's cool with solar punk is that it is so new. It was a word from a Tumblr blog in only 10 years back. So we can be part of defining it. So here we will be very specific on what kind of projects, but I'm also in the local art association, which is trying to build up just the very basic infrastructure for contemporary art in Rjukan. Since there should be something, but it hasn't been anyone coming here. So what you're doing in Archangelsk and so on, So
wow, cool.
all the headaches I recognize from, it's the same as, So we will also try to make a more general residency for this town. for everyone that is not identifying themselves as solar punks, but then we will be working. So this, I'm working with Martin with the Sun Mirror on this place, and then I'm working with some other people on the Artist Association and more general, yeah.
Cool. So you're going to have a residency for any artists in the future, or?
We will, yeah, I think this autumn we will apply for very specific projects like this. There is artists in Haugesund that are already working on the basic income collaborations. So we will be like very, we have to shape, you know, our identity and our targets and everything with these first projects. But then it's also like, it's a different group of people that is doing the Artist Association residencies. So then that will be a different project, different people also collaborating on the applications. But everything is, you know, grassroots and volunteering. So I never know how long things, and also people are much more relaxed there than in the, you know, the rat race in Bergen and in Oslo. So always these surprises on how, yeah. So I don't know like what will be the timeline, but I'm trying to keep it all the time with and we've been here. I've been here like for 1 year now. So and then now we are soon to be opening here. So and it's like it's the nice thing with being 41 and not have kids. Then it's possible to spend a lot of time working with this. But I think it's also right now, if any of you are particularly interested in coming here and in collaborating and so on, it's a very good moment to begin new collaborations, then make new networks, and then you can be part of this if you want to. So just let me know. And yeah, I saw the image of Ekaterina froze. Am I still? You still hear me or?
Oh,
hello?
maybe there is some.
Yeah, her connection.
Yes, on her connection. Yeah. I had to open Google Maps and check out where is Ruka. So is this on the west coast of Norway, quite south?
It is in the middle of Norway.
Yeah, in the middle, yeah.
Yes, I can send you. I recommend the film Heroes of Telemark with Kirk Douglas, made in Hollywood in 1960. It's a nice introduction to the historic, like the Second World War events here. And then I can send some links to films about the Sun Mirror project, if you're interested. You're the one from Monchegorsk, or yes, yes.
We have to say right.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
And you, yes. So no, yeah.
I think it's kind of like my holiday project to invite artists to have a video conference with me and just get in touch, like how is things going on. So
it's lovely.
Nice that
it's the corona way of doing things.
Yes.
New digitalization of everything, and new exploring everything that's been just in front of our noses with
I think we have to like learn from this corona that we can actually take a phone call or like have this video chat.
Yes.
Around the world. So
yes, exactly.
I think it made, at least in my work, this kind of easier access for just to have a talk together with a person around.
It's a super initiative.
Yeah. I think like it.
Sorry, I just disconnected. Something happened. Solaris. We watched Solaris here yesterday, and it's completely crazy film. So it's like, I think, you know, maybe very, very. But no, it's so super cool, because I think this event is also like a possibility to get an update, so to just share what we have been working with. So it's really, really cool. Yeah, should we have like a question answer stuff? maybe I can say also to Margrethe what we have been working. Actually, it's like we are working now on an online event on a digital platform, but it's going to be on more information will be in August and September, because now we got also several funding for projects, and it's about the Arctic. But this year we go in the direction of ecology, because especially with you, we actually worked a lot with ecology. But then it was not that, it was not on the agenda. So many people who didn't really get what we were trying to say, because in 2017 we had this topic of the forum, slow culture, and basically the title, it's a kind of grew up from observations, what happens with the town, because you have this like huge shopping centers, and you know, people who don't really care about like wooden buildings. So it's like, what is slow culture? So I invited representatives of all design unions from Northern Norway. And yeah, it was a kind of cool projects and stuff, but it didn't really, it was kind of like, because you feel, when you work with art, you feel things, you use like not only your brain, but also your feelings, and you feel that something is going to happen. And next year, but actually it already started in 2017, there was a large like riots, large protests in Shias, because at the forum we talked about creative economy and human-oriented economy, but it was not really a priority then. And there was like this, the priority was a garbage from Moscow. So it's like this super capitalist story. And also in our projects, we refer to like this utopian past and what happens today. And yeah, so basically there was this crazy project from Moscow, and the riots were really huge, because these garbages, they planned to have all around Russia, but the biggest riots were in the north, because also of this strong connection to culture, because the Russian north is a kind of super proud people. So yeah, and now it's a new governor, because the governor was so unpopular. He was so like he didn't include the the ideas of the people. So it was a priority, economical project, project. But now it's a new governor, and this project is not a priority anymore, and it's like out from the agenda. So it's like in 2017 we were talking about it, and on your projects we were talking about it, but it was not like people didn't connect it to themselves, like sorting garbage, all this like ecology stuff. But now it's a super hot topic, because people have seen what it means, and they realized how it was. And of course they also, this Moscow businessman, they presented all the project of packing garbage in plastic as a Nordic innovation, which was especially challenging for me and people who have lived in the Nordic countries. But now it's over, but the population is aware. So ecology is super like important topic.
Yes.
This year we will focus on ecology. And but it's going to be mostly online, and we also collaborate with some curators in Amsterdam. And but I will. It's a bit early to say, because there is no press releases, nothing. But we are working with that. We had a meeting about this now. Yeah.
Where are you now? Where do you live now, Ekaterina?
Well, I'm in the north of Norway now.
Yeah.
And we are planning maybe to move to the south because of the fog milieu, but now I'm in the north of Norway. Yeah. And I was supposed to be now in Russia, but because of Corona, there is no point, because if you go, you are in quarantine there 2 weeks, and you quarantine here 2 weeks, so there was not much possibilities for any Russia now.
Yeah.
But we work like with Russia, we have one organization in Russia and one organization in Norway, and we we work from both sides, and I think it's effective because we collaborate with many other institutions in the Arctic, and yeah. And there was a project in Finland actually, also in outside of Oulu in E. There was environmental art project. It's really amazing. It's like completely different. And what is public art? What is the value and how to produce projects themselves? I'm now writing a text, and it's like something completely different than in USSR. You know, when you have to have metal, when you have to have stones to produce a public art. And I find this very interesting.
Yes.
And in Oulu, we also have this environmental art park. We were in Oulu like last week. Yeah. And it was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is that, where you are located in the north of Finland? Yes?
Oulu. You are now in Oulu.
Oulu, and it's like 30 kilometers north from here.
Yes.
So it's really, really close. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and we would like to continue with educational projects as well, and actually now the Ministry of Culture is also supporting many of our projects. So like the authorities are changing and they become younger. So now most of the people who are leading, they are around their 40s. Because like for 3 years ago, they were around their 60s.
Yes.
And it was completely different generation, completely different mindset. And these people who are ruling now, they just, they actually think that art and creativity is cool. So it's like a lot of things is connected with generation and what kind of background you have.
Same shift of paradigm actually going on in this town. Since this is also like, this is very much like, it has amazing architecture, but it's very much like, it's an extremely working class town. So also like, it is very easy to write art off as something like without any like something fancy and so on. But it's the same thing happening now with this change, like post-industrial new sensibilities and understanding the function of art within the economy, like the secondary and tertiary values of investing in art in local communities. So that's, I think, is exactly the same shift of paradigm with people in that generation now about to retire, which is like the more like the common sense working class, and then the people more our age, which is has seen economic development in larger cities and all of that. And then it's very interesting now also to build on all of these, like all the unwanted effects, like how artists are doing the gentrification and then losing power and just creating value, which is misused for the market forces in the big cities. But now it's so much experience on how arts can regenerate and create like constructive development for the people. So it's very interesting time to be part of sort of changing communities in rural and like compared to being like where in the big cities where the pressure is, where the competition is so fierce and everything is that in that sense sort of becoming more similar, I think. But there it's easier to do more creative things in the districts where it's less competition within and then you also contribute. You can see the impact in the community in a completely different way than projects done in the big city centers.
Yeah,
so that is really quite fascinating, I'd say. And here is my collaborator coming, Martin Andersen, the Sunmiro guy. Then it's crew. Hello. In the middle of doing like a mix of different things. You know, plumbing, electricity, getting the pancake machine from Germany, all of these things. And we want to open as soon as possible. It's been like this crazy summer of tourism in Norway because of Corona. So we would be super rich if we opened up a little bit earlier, but not gonna.
The same is happening here in Finland. We were just like checking out the summer exhibitions in the middle of Finland, and we were stopping in every single small house, which and their cafe to their garden. So they were like, "Oh, this is so nice that people are like stopping in small places." So I think you will be super rich if you just open.
Yeah. But now again, it's but I think we will know like next year and the year after what kind of impact this change of attitude, the corona, like when corona forced everyone to do their vacations in the districts, then it will have a lot of impacts on so many levels in the years to come. So it's really interesting to see how like when all the cheap big city holidays are cancelled and so on. So it's so I guess I'm kind of happy we haven't opened yet, because I feel it's nice to have like a learning curve with not so intense activity in the beginning. So it will be nice to open for the local community in the autumn, and then next summer we will be like in control of all components in the, since it's also like it's gonna be like this we have to be super innovative with how to run the cafe and how to run the art projects and how to also maybe have a little store, and we are all doing the same, like we're all doing all of these things on top of each other. So it's a lot of just logistics and in the everyday life on how to make it realistic. I think it's good to be just little by little to evaluate and.
Are you going to have a kind of a hotel or something? Because some of the residences are also like.
Martin already did Airbnb. So the step would be like to develop an artist in restaurant program. It's very doable, and it could be done in many different ways. So I think now we will probably do like test pilot projects with the first people coming here, and then improve. Like there was already this Korean theater group coming here. They got funding from the Korean Cultural Council, and they were here doing like a project investigating hydrogen energy in the autumn. So, and then they were also working with like the preschool, like doing theater with the kids in the town and so on. But then we just improvised and tested, and they were staying in Martin's place and Martin was staying in my place. And so we just have to do a lot of things like that, I think, and then figure out like what sort of more permanent structures should we try to prioritize and so on. But now it's like everyone that's enthusiastic about coming can just come, and then we can make like letter of invitation and we improvise in the way we and
cool.
So please come. It's it's really nice to have people coming to this place, and also to have more people, since it's like compared to there's very few artists coming here, so it's really nice to have like the confirmation on what's special with the place through that perspective. So we're very grateful for visits now.
Well, it's like, I think we have been visiting Lofoten recently also. Yeah, it was like local, it was the most south that we got, Oulu and Lofoten.
Yes.
Very sunny, very warm, finally.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I think that periphery in the south is still a kind of, it is central. I don't know now when you are in the north. But actually, I just wanted also to say about processes happening in the north of Russia, because I just like told about Teriberka, because Teriberka, you have been there. You have been in the very beginning in this completely crazy processes. So Teriberka now has several hotels. There are many tourists coming there, especially before Corona, like lots of Chinese, Thai, South Africans, I saw there. And it's a new governor. He is a young governor. He also is more updated about what happens around the world. And now they got new money for the road, so they will build new road, some like billions of rubles. So Brekke is developing, and it's a kind of fun to have been there in the beginning, and it was completely different life. You maybe remember.
Yeah, the potatoes with dill and
Yeah. So culture really has an enormous impact. And the same thing in Nickel, they closed the factory. You remember this factory just outside the border, and there were many generations of Norwegians like protesting, stop clouds of death from Nickel, and now they are finally closed.
Yes.
And they have been thinking about what to do, and they have now they consider these creative industries also.
Yeah.
So things are changing, and on those places where we have been in the very beginning, and it's a kind of cool. Yeah.
Nickel as a city of the arts. That's really the purpose in perspective. That would be so hot for people everywhere. So interesting.
Yeah. I haven't been there yet after they closed this Plovtsech, but I think it's a kind of just cool to see what the processes are leading to. And in Murmansk there is a contemporary art center, but it's not really contemporary, but they also have a scholarship program finally. So with a new minister, so it's like kind of fun to see that the generations are changing and the things are changing. So like the 40 years old generation is now taking over, and it's completely different situation with arts and culture. And in Arctic, by the way, there is a new law which passed the other day, and they will be giving a free piece of land to everyone who wants to start a business in the Arctic.
Oh, wow.
Without any infrastructure though. So it's a good plan, like no infrastructure, please take this part in the Arctic Ocean. But yeah, there is a new packet of laws which is like minimizing all the taxes for businesses. So things are happening, things are changing, and I think it's cool. Yeah.
So you can get free land in the north of Russia if you have a good idea. If you wanna.
I have actually land there, but it's like, to come there, it's like you have to swim in you have to.
I came on hike with like a backpack.
Yeah. No, but we are working there, and Christina is there, and I also we have a team of Tatiana. She works at the university, and Svetlana, she works with administration, which is very good because none of us is very good in administration, but we have Svetlana who is good at that. And we have some young girls who are now working with publications, because we have several publications. Now it's in Russian, at least so far. But yeah.
Makes me want to go back up north.
Yeah, you should definitely consider that.
Yes.
Yeah, things are changing. It's cold enough. It's cold enough here. I know it was so funny to go to Bodø and to Lofoten, because it was just this kind of temperature. It becomes a luxury. But I think maybe in autumn I will go to the south.
Yes.
We'll see, because I'm also taking. I just had to take driving license, so I will be also doing this. And,
me too, actually.
That's what you have to do in the periphery.
Yes, I'm on it. Yeah, no, it's only actually 2.5 hours from Oslo if you drive like.
Oh my God!
But
it's like a suburb. It's a suburb.
Huh?
It's like a suburb.
It is actually, but when you come here, it doesn't feel like it. It is really remote, and it's different very much from all of Norway has a much more organic way of all of the society growing out of from Stone Age and along the coast, of course. Then it's up to Murmansk. It's been like settlements, settlements in places that make sense with the natural resources. But since this is this artificial town. Artificial like Murmansk, planned city, then it's just its own logic. So it really feels very strange and different from all of this normal. Like I guess more Finland, and it's also the same, that it's been like this old settlements just developing over the. But then when you have something happening quickly, it's cut off, and that's also how you build a city in a valley of the shadows. So it is actually, like, physically it's quite close to Oslo, but it feels like, you know, unreal and super far away. So it feels much more far away than like these small places on the coastline in the west, since they are in some ways more connected yeah. So it's a very special thing, and I think it's a very good place for like utopian thinking, because it's so you're like cut off from all of these like the modus operandi. Everything here has been strange throughout history. I think also similar to the Soviet Russia in the north. It's something like it's a lot of horrible things that have happened in the modernist era, but it's all of this like the attitudes of getting things done, which is still important, even that we need to use them with the best possible ideas. But it's something with the level of ambition that is kind of similar with these strange places. So that I think is really super fascinating. And it's also like it's this place called, like, it's in the library here, it's the third largest Marxist collection of literature in the world. Because like when they made the town, it was all of these workers coming here. It was some of this labor, like the unions, they were the most radical in Norway. So it was like a super white, like it's so much energy into the framework, like in the layer of history here.
It would be really cool to have some residency program there with some nice people, maybe. We have got many different grants now, and we have just to deal with them so far, because we were supposed to make a summer school in in Arkhangelsk. But because of Corona, I had to move everything, and there are so many different huge Arctic events. Next year it will be a large conference gathering all people working in the Arctic social sciences, and it's a kind of like people from Oxford and from Princeton and stuff like that are coming and going to talk about the North. So this was supposed to happen in June, and we were thinking to have this summer school, but because of Corona everything moved. And but I think that this approach, this ecological approach, and like Anthropocene, because I remember that all this discussion, they are now really like central. And I remember that this started actually with your projects in 2015, because it was not there yet. Now, like, you know, in peripheral processes is a bit later. They happen a bit later than in other places. Yeah. Cool. But if you have any like open call, I don't know how it works with like.
And I can send you guys some, I can send you from the town and some text, and you know, everything now is just informal, since we're in the molding, we're in the making, but you're all welcome to come here, and especially if it's like some concrete collaborations we could develop, which is, I get, it could be it's a really nice timing to start think about that, and to make projects, to apply funding that is like from the, I don't know, different kinds of EOS or.
Do you have a ceremony for devotion of the solar punks?
Solar punks.
Do you have any kind of clothing for solar punks? Should they have a balaclava?
I can ask Martin if it's going to be ceremonies of the solar punks. Ceremonies of the solar punks. It's already like this occult parties from the 20s, which is the sun party. When the sun is returning to the valley, they have like, so Martin.
Yeah, you have it in Murmansk.
Martin, he was once like the solar prince in Rjukan.
They choose each year. They choose one to be the prince and one to be the king, like a local who contributed to society, who is a prince.
Could you hear him?
Yeah.
No, so it's this strange, like when I came with bus from Bergen, and then it was like this parade in the springtime of people dressed up weirdly, and it's this tradition from the 1920s, which is like really super weird of a massive solar parade and a solar festival, sun festival kind of, which is every spring.
Wow.
So it's then, so I think that like when we are doing solar punk in Rjukan and in the Valley of the Shadows and under the sun of the sun mirror, then everything will of course be site specifically tainted.
Wow.
Like and solar punk, it's just I think the main producers of solar punk on the internet is like teenage girls doing this, drawings on iPads and so on. So maybe we are the oldest solar punks.
Maybe.
So
The
then we
original
can make the ceremonies, I think, after our own ideas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, please send
Yes.
more. It would be really nice to and especially that it's like a worker town. I thought that Tromsø is like a worker town, and the main square is named after some like Arbeiderparti leaders and stuff. And in Oslo, you are having this story with the Y-blokka, because I think it's also an ideological project, of course. But in the north, it's you have a feeling that it's still like very utopian society, which is not the fact in Russia, I think.
No.
Yeah. So in the north it is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The contrast is the scale of the machine, like the scale of things in Russia, and the smallness of the Norwegian and Scandinavian communities, which is quite unique, I guess, in different.
But Rjukan, isn't it in Telemark? Because Telemark is a kind of like there is this artist from Telemark, because you have a lot of different ancient tradition in Telemark.
Yes. It is where you have like the largest. I just heard from this guy that is doing Fortidsminneforeningen, that it is the largest collection of medieval houses is in Telemark, and it is like this like very strong community of crafts and also like eco farmers moving up into the valleys and doing very old style kind of farming, and so it's a lot of these initiatives and these people. So like the industrial town of Rjukan is a contrast to what is like the actually brand name of Telemark, since it was also like where, and this is actually this is another fun fact, because Norwegian institutional art, it actually began in Rjukan with the motive Rjukanfossen, which was like romantic era, when the people were going out from the big city with pollution and painting in the Alps and so on. And then they started doing the same thing. Like, it was no art academy in Norway then. So the Norwegian artists were educated in Germany. And then I came back up to Oslo, and then I walked as far as I could into the wilderness, which was Rjukan, because this is the beginning of the Hardangervidda plateau. And then it was like this waterfall, which was like supposed to be the tallest in the world. So it was like famous for false reasons. But then it began, so actually it's the beginning of the Norwegian tourist, the Norwegian Tourist Association. And then it is the beginning of the first paintings of nature, which is in the museums now. They are painted in this region. And that was also like in Norway, these two elements was merged into making the Norwegian identity, which is still what we are like shaped by. Like all of these, the romantic era landscape paintings by the wandering artist. So that's also another thing that I'm not sure how much we will make emphasis on in Solarpunk context, but for the local artists association, this is very important. And so, like, since ever, people and Norwegians have been creative in making stuff, and we've been, with post-colonial perspectives, like art history becomes sort of ridiculous, and the word art and everything, but So I think maybe that's the reason why when it was no focus on that when I was like studying and so on. But then, it's like actually when I went to museums in Bergen to look at classic paintings, then it was a lot of paintings which is just from this place, and it's something that no one talks about here. So that's I think it's interesting to start dig into these things.
Yeah. There was an exhibition at Munch Museum curated by Kari Brandtzæg, and there were lots of works from the north, painted in the north of Russia, and even in this like mediation part of the exhibition, there were lots of national Russian clothes. But the exchange was made with the Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow. It's like this large museum, which was private before, but now it's not private. It's a state museum. It's like the huge, like large museum. And many works, they were produced in Arkhangelsk, in the Murmansk area, and in Hammerfest in northern Norway. But those who had a talk, those who talked, people from Moscow who represented all this, and I think it's also another important question, especially if you talk about the north and if you talk about periphery center relations, because I think actually that it really works best if you are between the center and periphery, if you move. Because if you don't move, it's a kind of it's a different story. But once you share, you exchange, if you are moving yourself, I think this really has a point, because
it's very important for the mental health and for the
but also about bringing the message, like just to bring the message of important message from the peripheries to the center, because there are things to learn, there are things to talk about, especially if we're talking about like indigenous people in the north or stuff like that.
Absolutely, to
Cool.
change perspectives and
But it was so nice to talk to you. I think I would really love to visit. I don't know yet when, but because we have a crazy autumn.
I'm very grateful to be included in this, and it's really nice that the initiative and to see you both again. So, I can send some like just different films and welcome to Rjukan on the mail, so you have it. Yeah. I'll do that. We have some dugnad and stuff going on here today, but I'll reply during the weekend, and I'll send you some small introductions to this place, and you're all welcome to come. So it's nice if like we can just start staying in touch, and maybe maybe there will be some way of like developing something on this thing of being outside of the center, and what is the possibilities on art in the digital era, not happening in Berlin and New York and all of that. So it's a lot of different angles, I guess, to we can look at. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Then I say goodbye.
Thanks for now. Yeah.
And see you soon, hopefully. Yeah. Welcome to Rjukan.
Tack.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yes. So should we take a short break now?
Yes, let's have
before Asya's journey? Okay, cool. I will take a short break.
See you in a few minutes.
See you.
Or 10. Hi.
Hello,
Nice to see you.
nice to see you.
We took a small break with Ekaterina just before you came. So
Oh, hi.
nice to see you.
Hello,
Welcome.
Katya.
Hi.
Hello, Katya.
Great.
See you.
Yes. Nice to see you. So, yes. So now we have Asya. And thanks a lot that you found time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So we are now having this project, and Taija, you are in Oulu in Finland. Yeah, and I'm in Norway, and you are in St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah. Yes, right.
Yeah, we just had a conversation with Margrethe Kolstad Brekke, and she is an artist we have been collaborating with for a while, who works with textile, painting, and now she focuses on ecology and her new project, Solar Park Punk Academy. And you have also been working with textile, but you have actually your education as a graphicer, right? Yeah, could you tell maybe more about your background, like as an intro, what your background is, and we can move further to what you're working with now.
Okay. My first education is in computer graphic. I worked in program like designer, and then my second high education in production design of animated films. So at the beginning, I was thinking I will work in production of animation and cartoons, and I worked for a while at the animation studio. But at the same time, during my education, I started to do my own things. I started to study simultaneously at School for Contemporary Young Artists here in St. Petersburg, which was organized by ProArte Foundation. And I started to do my solo and group show. At the beginning, I worked more with video, and in video art, I use animation as a media. But at the same time, I was always drawing, and I always changing materials. I wouldn't say I work with graphic. I wouldn't say I work with textile. I always combine them. For example, my last show, I used, I think, all the materials. I even wrote poetry and sing a song with my music, and there was also sculptures and some textile parts. So I just like try new things in each project. But at the beginning, I was more like video artist.
What are you working with now?
Now I'm preparing to group exhibition in Moscow in Garage Museum. It's a triennale, and I'm working on sculpture. They will be the project calls Agents of Intuition, and they will have some iron parts and soft parts made from artificial fur.
Okay.
So
can we see? Can you maybe show any of your current works, or?
I can show you. Now I'm working on sketches. Last few years, my drawings looks more like sketches for a future installation. It's not like drawing itself. It's more like I'm thinking and drawing at the same time. So I can show you some sketches.
Nice.
And then I will show a little bit more. I always start from drawing because it helps me to think. I really need to, I cannot imagine it just in my mind. I need to see something. So that's why I always start, even when I going to work with video, I always start from some sketches. But sometimes I try to be very precise. I mean proportions and lines and colors. But it always changes in the future. But in drawings, I like to be precise, like this. So it's easy to find the
I was also checking your latest exhibition in this Marina.
Marina Gisic Gallery.
Yes, and I can see that you are working with line also in this sculpture. So it's really nice to hear that the inspiration starts from sketches and drawings.
Yes. When I was working with textile, they look like lines on the paper, and it was very easy to start to work with sculpture because it's like an object in a imaginary space on the paper. I just took them from my drawings and set sizes and proportion. It was logical. What else? Some of my drawings I don't realize in sculptures. Some of them they just I lost them as drawings. And it's like a hammock with holes.
Do you have a title there or some text on the top? Because
it's difficult to chicken lay.
Chicken lay?
Yes.
How is it in Russian?
Курица ложись.
Okay.
And here I do some sketches for master who will make it in iron, because I cannot do it myself here at the studio. I do it again, but with sizes, and I send to master. And when he's producing iron elements, I work with the soft ones. How? Let me turn my camera, and I will show you some. For example, this one. It's like a window with chicken legs. And this is soft. It's not finished. I'm still thinking on the sculpture. I don't know. Probably will change this soft element. And here a seat, but the top of the seat is like a pin.
Mm.
In my gallery, I did it. I did two seats. One is now in the gallery. Another one is here.
Mm.
Here, I'm going to show you embroideries from an exhibition in 2016. It calls Hidden Seams. And there was a lot of embroideries. And these curtains, which you, Katja, could see in Kirkenes, there was also part of this project.
Yes, I recognize this. Very nice. Mm.
On these embroideries, I made some kind of exhibition rooms. They was hanging one after another, and you can see the entrance in each room. They have an entrance and exit, and the viewer could walk through all these rooms. There was 8 rooms. Each room has the name. For example, this room, it's a light room or room of hope, and it's something between exhibition space, but at the same time some psychological space. And you can see these lines. They're the same as how to explain. They're all has the same thickness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Really define which is real and which is not real. I really wanted to create some spaces where you cannot be sure is it something is it an object, or is it some visual difficult to explain. Okay, let's see another one. It's not the right order, but I put white one on the top, and you can see the black exit. It means that after this white ones should be black one. And this room calls a farewell room, or room to say goodbye.
A farewell room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entrance and exit again.
I really like the idea that I saw immediately there is a gallery space that you have built, and those are made on a fabric that you could actually exhibit those works anywhere, in public space or in the forest or wherever. So I really, really like that idea that you are like bringing the white box into a painting and taking it out again. So
yeah, and here you can see the painting. It's also exhibition space inside this exhibition space. So it's like space in the space, which you can put in the another space.
So nice. What kind of textile? Oh yeah.
It's very simple cotton. And this transparent ones, it's synthetic. I don't know the right word. It's just transparent.
Yeah.
And this one calls a room of doubts. Doubts.
So first you draw a sketch, and then you like bring the sketch to the textile in a way, right?
In this case, no. In this case,
You started at the textile.
I started at the textile. Yes, I did sketches right on the fabric with the pen. I can erase a pen line from this cotton. So sometimes I just started to sew. Sometimes when I needed, I did it very light lines with the pen at first, and then I made line with a sewing machine.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And if I remember, I didn't have a structure before I started to work. I just started from this first room of doubts, and then I made this black exit. So after that, I took a black piece fabric and started to work with second room, and that's how I did eight of them.
That's nice. Where did you show these works? Where are they?
In a name gallery in St. Petersburg, and then in Moscow in MoMA, Museum of Contemporary Art. And then I won Moscow Prize for Young Artist, and I showed them again in Moscow Art Fair, and that's all. And because the whole project is big, it includes and drawings and embroideries, animation, and 5 big curtains. It's difficult to find the right place to show it again. All these works. So I sometimes I send just few of them, like these 3 curtains to Kirkenes. And here are a few embroideries which I made this fall in residency in Paris, in Cité des Arts de Paris. I started to work with French language. I started to use application to learn some French, and some phrases they were sometimes funny, sometimes absurd, sometimes too philosophical, and I use these phrases for watercolors. I made more than 30 watercolors, and also I use these phrases for embroideries. I'm going to do some of them. They are simple. There is no it's like a red flag with the phrase that today, how to translate it? Today is a great day.
Do you refer to any of this? Yeah, I just get the references to the Moscow conceptualists, but it's something completely different.
And this, it's like a waterfall and scissors. And the phrase means it lasts an ages.
No.
And this one, it says, day started at night, and the night started at the day. And here I made a mistake, and I correct myself. I forgot a little word.
So, how did you choose to write in French language?
I was learning French with the application, and it's automatically offered me some phrases, and some of them were just for daily life, and some of them they stuck in my mind. I felt that they have more than something more. And I started to work with them because they were too random. I cannot use it in shops and talking with strangers, but they gave me some impulse to work with them. And this is it means you have time.
When do you choose material? Do you also think about like the story of the material as well? Have you also tried working with material telling the story? Because actually I remember at this exhibition, now I remember, there was this Britta Marakatlaba, and I wanted to ask if you met her, if you know her from before, and what do you think about her art? Because in her...
Really like her works. We met in Karasjok in 2015. I was invited there by Pikine Pabroen residency, and we met, and I bought her album, and we talk a little bit, but not so much. But I always her album is always on my table. I really love her work.
Yeah, she told me that she has some relatives in Russia, somewhere around St. Petersburg. I don't know if Marakat is a reference to Marekov. At least that's what she told me, like for a year ago or something. And in her work, and also in the work of another artist who used fish, they not all the works, but some of the works, like she uses the material which also can tell stories.
Mhm.
If you remember the sculpture, now Taija, I don't you this exhibition, but Britta used some like sek, I don't know how you say it in English. It's like this material you use for coffee, you use for
Mhm. Mhm.
like grains and stuff, and
Mhm.
it was some historical like material. I think this piece of textile covered the entrance to the lavvo, to the house of Sami, and it was German. It was Nazi German, as far as I
Yes,
remember.
I remember. I remember.
Yeah. So I remember also this work. So sometimes she uses this different kind of textiles, and sometimes she also uses like the textile which has the story in itself already. What do you think about this kind of material approach?
Of course, I keep it in mind. When I choose materials, I pay attention to it, but it's not very important to history of material. For example, this embroideries, I choose this simple cotton because it reminds me some fabric from my childhood, from some curtains or in the trains, which cover the very cheap and simple materials. And when I choose fabric, of course, I'm thinking about it. It's going. Which memories it can activate, and of course it's important, but not in the same way as Britta works. And this French embroideries I bought, they call them coupons. It's pieces of fabric, small ones. They cannot sell them for the normal price. It's just cuts from big pieces. And I like this idea that I can do something from cuts. And also I choose embroidery because at the studio I have only table, only studio. I didn't have sewing machine. I didn't have any tools, just fabric and needle. Sometimes I choose materials very practical because I cannot do something big. I cannot take it at home, some big things.
I really like I really like that you have this variety in your works, like you use different kind of materials, like the hard steel, and suddenly there is this fragile cotton that you like do it yourself, and I think there's a really nice contrast, and you are quite multi-talented also, and you can work with these kind of different materials. Or do you have help for this iron works? Or
yes, I sometimes I ask for help if I need to make iron sculpture.
yeah.
But I tried to make it by myself, but it's too difficult. It's too. I realize that I cannot do everything. I need to ask someone.
Yeah, in your profile in Instagram, you had some works including organic themes. Why do you choose to go in that direction, or do you choose to go in that direction? Yeah. With potato, there was this work with potato on Instagram.
Okay. It's just happened. I didn't plan to work with potatoes at all. It's just accidentally happened.
How it happened? Did you eat a potato and suddenly, yes, like Newton?
No, I grew up in family. Of course, it has some roots. I grew up in family which was we were always growing potato and other plants to eat. The whole season we were working on dacha, and then the cold period we were eating all these vegetables, and I get used to work with soil, with potatoes. It was I remember it was difficult because I was a kid. I wanted to do something else, but it was all at the same time more like play, and I found some interesting moments in this labor. For example, we were playing with potatoes as puppets, especially when we found some funny ones, which reminds us some animals, and I did a series of graphic works for this Hidden Seams exhibition. There was probably 10 or maybe less drawings with potatoes. That's how they appeared in my drawings. The structure of exhibition, it has a round structure, and it started from autumn and then continued in winter, and this part of harvest and end of summer, I put these drawings with potatoes in this part. So that's how, because the life of my family will always depend on the season. We were living together with this changing during the year. And that's why it's important for me, this natural cycle of life. I always thinking about it, how it involves, how it influenced to our lives. And that was the first time when I started to draw potatoes. And then my friend, he was going to throw out some potatoes with this small, we call them ice, the small ice. And for me, it was, I couldn't see how someone just throwing out potatoes, the food, and I took them from him, and I just put it at the studio on the window. I just left them here, and I started to see how they changing. They started to grow, and I don't know, at some point I realized that they're so beautiful and they have so much energy. Even they don't need any care. They just growing. And I started to make these drawings, and after that I planned them, and I started to draw the whole process in how the green part started to grow, and then I started to draw the small ones, small potatoes, which I get from them. So it's like it became more than potatoes. I found some parallels with people's lives, with some family history, and I don't know. It was just interesting for me to have this small potato slice at my studio, and that's how this drawing series appears.
Wow, that's cool.
That's so interesting. Just yesterday we were on a visit on 2 artist studios, and Kaisu, the other painter, was really fascinated by a ginger that have started to grow in her kitchen. So she was like working on that and was planning to come back with the ginger in 1 month and see how it comes. And, yeah.
I also growing ginger at home. It smells so nice. When I cut some leaves, it smells amazing. It's like fresh. It's very fresh and a little bit lemon smell. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And at that time, when I plan these potatoes, when I have a lot of drawings, at that time I also have some changes in my mind during psychotherapy, and I made an exhibition right here at my studio. I opened my studio for 2 days, from morning till evening. So I have this experience to have solo show right at the studio. It was very nice, and there was interesting that I showed small potatoes. I mean, real small potatoes, and growing ones, and the drawings and painting. So you could see the whole life of these plants from very beginning to some results.
Wow, it looks amazing. Yeah, I have some more questions. If Taija doesn't have anything else.
No, not now. Yeah.
Yes. The questions about learning and unlearning. It's like, yeah, because many artists who have started in academies, they had to unlearn the principles which were taught in these academies, especially those who went to like Repinka or Muhina or something. But I understand that you studied somewhere else. What do you think about learning, and were there any things that you had to unlearn from your academy, and where you are learning from?
I think we have at the university, we have much more freedom, and I can say that this time at the university, it gave me time to think, because I studied 6 years at the university. It's quite long, and I have this time to try something in production of animated films. I try to do some sculptures. I have time to walk and to make some sketches. I tried many things while I was studying. And as I already said, on the third year I started to study at the school for young contemporary artists. So it gave me a lot of opportunities. I was working on a TV channel, making short animation. I was working as a video artist in a theater, on some plays. I tried a lot, even 3D animation, 2-dimension animation, hand drawing animation, and it just gave me this time and space for experimenting, and it was very helpful. So when I graduated, I was already prepared to do my own things. And I wouldn't say that I needed to unlearn something, because when I started to study, I already had the background in art school, in computer graphic. I was working as a designer, so I didn't start it from zero when I started to study at university. And if I didn't like some professors or the way how they teach, I was just, okay, I will skip it. And that's why I don't have to unlearn.
Okay. Yes. What inspires you? If you have background in animation, do you have any artists who inspire? Or, yeah.
I don't know. It's always different. Sometimes it's random things. Sometimes it's something that I see on the street, some colors, some surfaces. It can be clouds. For example, I have here my book about clouds. I did it this winter for Garage Contemporary Art Museum. And this book based on my observation, my observation for clouds. I forgot how to say.
Of the clouds.
Of the clouds, yes. Sometimes I start from my psychological state. If I feel some pain, or if I have some questions inside me, it can be the starting point. Sometimes in many cases I see something, some materials, some combination of objects on the street, and I can find them very inspiring, because some of them looks like sculpture. Sometimes I started to do something only because I really like to touch some materials. For example, these soft sculptures, like these ones. Sometimes I just like the process of producing things, and it can be also the reason why I work with material. This series of soft sculpture, I started to think about it during quarantine because I did some I would say toys for myself, and I really like when this object they live together with me as not as a artist piece, but as a part of my daily life. For example, I have this pen, but pink one, and I sleep with this pink soft pen. And I started to think what kind of art I would like to see, I would like to have. And I realized that I really need something soft and something relaxing, helping to fall asleep. That's why I started to do this, something between toys and sculptures.
Do you have a title for or a name for this work?
This one calls Sleeping Friend.
Yeah. Wow, cool. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. So nice. I didn't see this one. It's very, very special. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Do you have any? Because you work with animation and some artists in St. Petersburg. It's so near to Finland. It feels that like many artists in St. Petersburg just go to Finland like every weekend. What do you think about Finnish arts and design? And do you have any like partners you have been working with in Finland, or do you have any like works which inspire you?
Of course, I like classic Finnish design, as Alvar and Aino Aalto. When I studied 10 days in Helsinki in frame of education program, and we were in Alvar and Aino Aalto's house. And also at their studios, and it was very inspiring. I remember it was like I'm inside of a masterpiece. Yeah, it was very nice. I don't know much names, unfortunately, and unfortunately I cannot now to go to Finland every weekend. I really I really hope that very soon we will have this opportunity again. And if to speak about artists, I know few, but it's always difficult for me to remember names. When we were studied in Helsinki, we have a master class of Pilvi Takkala. She gave us an artist talk, and I remember her works very well. She's amazing. I like her performance with Snow White, and her idea to give an art prize to kids to decide how to spend the money. I really like her works conceptually, and her sense of humor. I work very differently, but I checked her site just a few weeks ago, and I really like her work about office life when people slightly touch each other. I think the question which she sets are very very complex, and she always I don't know how she find the way very delicate how to work with this question. It's very inspiring. I would like to work maybe the same way, but I just cannot. That's this is very inspiring that you can see some artists who work so differently but so brilliant. And I really like her.
What is your name again?
Pilvi Takkola.
Okay.
Kaisu just arrived to this gallery that I work.
Takala has arrived. No.
Hello. She
Hello.
had this ginger yesterday as an inspiration for her work.
Thank for you all. It is very interesting to listen.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this was my last question actually in the list.
And it's 10 to 3, so I think it's good to have a small break, and then I will continue here. And thank you, Ekaterina, for inviting artists and giving your time for this. And we will continue. Maybe if you can join on this morning discussion together with Javier.
Tomorrow, yeah. Actually,
Tomorrow.
I would love to join this discussion.
Yeah. If it's possible for you, so it would be nice to have you also there.
Yeah.
And Javier is doing also this kind of, I don't know, on the edge art, kind of periphery and agriculture project, which are not maybe like artworks, but they are maybe more like a process and style of living.
Yeah.
Art.
We met with Javier and Taija last time. It was in Rovaniemi. Yeah, it was at the Arctic Art Summit, and we went to a bar, and then tomorrow we will meet again. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Asya. It was so nice to see your studio. Actually, it's possible because it's first time I do like this, and it's possible.
Yeah, me
to see
too.
things.
Me actually too.
It's Finnish people always innovative, you know. Yeah, I should try these formats for some of our events as well. It's like it's not that difficult, and it's possible to see your artworks and talk.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Yeah. Thank you very much. Exciting works, fantastic. When does the Triennale start, by the way? Because
it starts 2nd of September.
Okay, cool.
Very soon.
Yeah, yeah. Since I've been in Norway for 2 years now, so it's like I should follow more for what happens. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time and fantastic work.
Thank you for invitation.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Nice. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so today we had two amazing artists and a curator, Ekaterina Sharova, here as my guests. And tomorrow we will continue at 10 a.m. Javier Rodriguez comes here to tell about his project called Cultural Paths. And then we have Oulu-based artist Silja Kejonen, who also has her own big project going on, and she works as an artist in Veranverstas, which is a young person's place to practice art. And then the last one is visual artist Sara Riesenmey from Switzerland, and she just had her baby, so it's nice to hear what is happening in her life at the moment and how the baby affects on artistic work. So see you tomorrow. We will stop now a bit earlier, but tomorrow continues.